during the UCLA days. You try to tell me USC didn't have a guy rolling around back then when they had all them guys, all them Hollywood guys. JAKIB must have been going to, you know how many Oscar events he must have went to? He was at Southern Cal. Listen, if you live in LA, everybody's USC or UCLA in that city. Everybody. No matter if you're on the air, no matter if you're a corporate guy. That must have been a ton of fun here. All right. Without further ado, this is my time. And this is one of the best times of the year because you get ready for the upcoming season. We're 5 weeks out. Without further ado, our dear friend from Fox 29 in Philly, it is indeed the legendary Garry Cobb. He joins us now. Cobb, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you making out?
How about this, Garry? Do they still have that same kind of alumni that they had back when you guys were there? Because you guys were rock stars. You guys were bigger fish in Los Angeles than the Rams. USC was a bigger ticket. It's kind of like when you're in Florida. You know, it's either the Gator tickets or the Bucks. Most people would pick up the Gator tickets because Gator football is enormous in that state. And in that city, I always said it, man, USC was a 33rd team. Do they still have that kind of passion for the program?
Yeah, they do, I guess, in a way, but you know, they haven't won as much. You know, they don't really. I don't think the legacy is there as much because, you know, everything was. Well, you know, you had people that were there so long. You know the winning was just assumed. You were going to be winning.
Coach Robinson.
That's right. You had those guys there, and then of course all the assistant coaches were there a long time and everything. So I mean, just you see the helmet or whatever, people go crazy, man. You know, we had we would fill up the Coliseum. The Rams weren't filling up the Coliseum.
No way.
No, and USC football, man, the people just went crazy. I mean, about it. But so that was a fun time and everything. But yeah, they don't have it like that because they're not winning as much. You know, come on. When is the last time they really been in a hunt for a national championship? It really has kind of. It's not there right now.
I'll tell you what was really cool, Garry, is that I got a chance when I was with the Cowboys. I don't think you were there. I played the Raiders. I think it was a preseason game. It was the first time I had ever played in the Coliseum. And I got to tell you, man, that's one of the coolest places that I ever played. I'm sitting there, I'm having a good time, and I hear Howie Long do this. Hey, Sileo, I can eat a bowl of soup off your head. And I'm sitting there and I turn around. And there's Matt Millen, because, you walk out together. The two teams walk out together out of that tunnel. But that place was just absolutely
the Raiders were characters, boy. They were a crazy team, man. Those Raiders with Matt Millen and those guys, man. That was a group there. But we had a lot of SC guys who were on that team. But anyway.
Oh, absolutely, because Al loved recruiting Southern Cal. Garry, I'm going to ask you a question here about Saquon Barkley here. So, if Barkley breaks down, what's plan B in 2025 for the Eagles if he breaks down?
Now, this is heresy to be talking like this.
I'm just kidding. Hey, don't you think you've got to have a – well, last year –
without a doubt, you got to have another option. You got to be thinking of, can you win with that?
They have enough to get to the NFC title game if he breaks down.
That's a great question, boy. I couldn't say yes, right away to just say, oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, they definitely are going to have to, if that were to happen, they really are going to have to have people that are going to have to really step it up, and they would have to prove that, because I couldn't really say that they do right now, because the passing game would have to step up, Jalen's taking more weight on his back, where, you just don't have that run threat there to that extent. And, I don't know where their running game would be, without him there. I mean, yeah, you do have that offensive line still.
Would he have to run the ball more? More RPO?
Well, I think they would do. Yeah, they would have to do
on him.
Yes, it would be more RPO, but yeah, I would say he's got to take more of the offense then. Yes, without a doubt, he's got to take more of the running game, and they got to be better. So your passing game's got to be better. They're going to have to take more of that of the weight. Without Barkley there. So if that were to happen, man, that would really. Well, you really would find out how good people are, man. That would really be, stepping it up. But we're going to find out some of those things, this year. But I couldn't say yes. That would be a big question mark to me, man. If they could do that without Barkley in there, without his threat in there, because I want to see more out of the passing game. But part of that would be because he's such a threat. If he's back there, if he's not back there.
Do you think they're pushing their chips in too much on this gamble? Because, again, you were not developing balance a year ago. You were one-sided. And
Correct.
The conversation with Eagle fans is, well, they could have broke it out of the garage anytime. Well, that's not how that works.
No.
Okay? You know that better than everybody. So, again, at the end of the day here, I mean, how would this thing look? Would it be more on Jalen? Would they throw the ball more? Would there be more RPOs? Obviously, the emphasis would have to go back to him. And then I would say, so you're going to rely on A.J. Dillon and Will Shipley and Jalen Hurts to carry the offense and the passing game? Boy, that's a lot.
Well, they would have to, though. I don't see being, they would have to go to that level. Now, I think they would probably want to rely more on the passing game, but Jalen and his ability to run and the RPOs would definitely have to be more of a factor. That's where they would have to go, unless there's something else they got in that bag. To me, that's where they would have to go, and it really, you are putting more on Jalen Hurts, and you're asking him to really take his whole game to another level. Because I imagine, I said numerous times, I expect more out of the running game this year. I mean, not the running game, I mean the passing game.
Passing game.
Expect them to put more weight on the passing game because these guys have been together so long, man. It's time for them to be able to do that, where they can just take over a game with their passing game. They should be able to do that, and I can tell I mean, Jalen he's looking good at practice and everything, but of course, practice is practice. It's not real.
Yeah.
So you don't take it too serious.
I mean, like you said, I mean, quality reps is not OTAs.
Mm-hmm.
Quality reps, I mean, barely organized team activity is really quality reps. Yeah. I'm gonna throw something at you too here, Gary. So you think Jalen Hurts is on a Hall of Fame path right now?
Well, with the winning, you're winning championships. Yeah, you're going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Right now, at this time in his career with, at his pace he's on right now. What's that?
He's trending.
He's trending. That's right. Because he's been to the Super Bowl 2 times. He really played well in both of those. But because of the Super Bowls, yes, that's what gets him over. Not that he, is, like I said, great passing game, great passer and everything, but the combination, and he is part of that running game. Even last year with Barkley, his threat helps out Barkley because it freezes a guy. Freezing one of the guys on defense, they can't just take off, because there's a threat there with Jalen Hurts. So that's part of his game, is he is able to hurt you with his legs. And you see it plays in, and you got a good team. He will take off with the football and hurt you.
I'm gonna throw something at you here. Okay.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is 46-20 in his 4 years starting. He's got 13,000 passing yards, 85 TDs, 39 interceptions. He's won 2 NFC titles a Super Bowl, and of course, Super Bowl MVP. And I'm going to throw this one at you. Some in here because we did this exercise earlier, but I wanted to hear your thoughts. I got another quarterback who's 46-18 in his first 4 years. He's won 2 NFC title games. He's won 1 Super Bowl. He's thrown for almost 14,000 yards. And he's got 106 TD passes versus Hurts' 85. And he's got 34 interceptions, 5 less than Hurts in his first 5 years in the league, first 4 years in the league. Do you know who that guy is that started out better than Jalen Hurts? That's Russell Wilson. So I asked Jason Cole last week if he thought Russell Wilson was a Hall of Famer. He goes, well, that's a debate. So how is Jalen Hurts a Hall of Famer? And that guy's had a better start to his career than what Jalen Hurts has. So are we jumping the gun? My point is, you know this. There's 371 guys who have made it to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's still got work to do, in your opinion.
He's still got work.
Brady had a 10-year gap between his Super Bowl III and Super Bowl IV. There was a 10-year gap. So a lot's still to be written on whether or not this guy is going to put a Hall of Fame career together.
Correct. I think in similar to Russell Wilson, their defenses played a role in their success. The running games played a role in their success, and of course, the biggest thing they did was win. Because Russell Wilson wasn't there where he's throwing for 300 yards a game. He wasn't playing like that. He was playing good football and everything. But I can't say though. His whole production has gone south though with Russell. See, that's why.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, he's played himself out of it.
Yeah.
And by the way, for a guy like Josh here, I'm taking his 4 years as a starter, not the first year, because if I were to do that with McNabb and with what's his name, 5 years, he's over 15,000. Russell Wilson. So again, he's got to be consistent though, right? Correct. Is what the point is. For him, you think he needs another one,
and should improve, and should improve though. So he should with the passing game, he should improve. That's what I expect. I expect him to do even better in the passing game because he's more comfortable with it. He's going to know what he's looking at more. He's going to be able to read defenses. At least this is what quote unquote assuming. But I'm expecting him to do even better in his passing game. Now we didn't necessarily see that with Russell.
No, it's gone the other way.
Going the other way, okay. Correct.
Do you think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's because he won. Won 2 Super Bowls.
The 2 Super Bowls.
I think 2 Super Bowls. Well, this has been pretty much it. If you win 2 Super Bowls, quarterback, you're in.
And MVP.
That's right. If you do that, you're in. That's pretty much the way they have. They've treated just about everybody, because I don't know anybody that has been an MVP, has won 2 of them, and is not a Hall of Famer.
But let me ask you this: if his last name was Eli Smith, does he get in?
And maybe
because of the Super Bowl MVPs, right?
Because of the Super Bowl MVPs, that's right.
Yep.
Because if you lead that team there and you win it. And you win the MVP is pretty much saying, okay, this is the key that gets you in, because there even have been people, who they haven't necessarily lit it up, but they won. And the big thing is winning. And that's what Jalen has been able to do. He has been able to win. It's a winning culture he's around. So, but I think that, I expect him to raise his game, to raise his passing game. I expect him to raise that because you got some great people you're throwing the ball to. You got a tremendous offensive line. You got that run threat there. And I expect to see that improvement. I'd be disappointed if I don't expect to see that this year.
You think he's the greatest quarterback in Eagle history already?
That's tough to say that. I couldn't say that already.
More than McNabb. Or hell, even Randall.
Yeah, well, I think, he has, he's done more when it comes to winning and everything. I think if he continues to play at this level and continues, to improve, I think that he's on his way there. Yes, I do think he's on that trajectory.
Two last questions for you.
But I tell you, boy, whew, some other people have gone south and they've gotten this close. But we'll see. I want to see improvement, though.
Gary, I would have said to you 10 years in with McNabb, I would have said he was a slam dunk Hall of Famer. In his last 3-4 years, he played himself out of it, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, with some of the teams he went and played with and everything. Yeah, you're right. I think so.
I thought he played himself out of that thing here. How do you feel about this? Two last questions here. Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt replacing Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham. How do you feel about those two guys replacing Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith?
Well, I like the, I think this is going to be a positive. I think it's going to be positive. I expect, and for the way things are going, I haven't seen a lot of Jalen Hunt. He hasn't played a great deal, So
you think he just needs reps?
I think, I think so. I mean, I see a potential. It seems like he's really from the way he looked out there at the camp and everything, it looks like he's getting more comfortable. And so I expect good things. And same thing with Smitty. I think we've already seen where he's going. And I see those guys where I think they are going to be able to step up. But they got to do it, man. And when you're taking more snaps and you're out there on the field more, then your productivity has got to increase. And I think we're going to find out, man. This is a time where would I be comfortable putting my neck all the way out for those guys right now? Yeah, I couldn't do that all the way. Say, oh well, I'm that confident, but I do expect it, but they got to go out and do it. We've seen that out of Smith, Smith, but Hunt, we haven't seen a lot of Hunt yet.
Yeah. Hey, I've got to ask you this, man. For me, these 5 weeks before you get to training camp. Now, you and I had to go to 3-a-days and 2-a-days and That's 3 right. months camp. Yep. So you tell me, this used to be the most frightening time for me because I would always be this. I'd be laying in bed, Gary. I'd look up, it's 11:30 at night, and I go, I don't know if I ran enough. I don't know if I'm in shape. Holy shit. There's somebody else out there that's like, I got to go out. And I would get up at 11:30 and I would just go run like 2 hours worth. It could be 2:30 in the morning. Yeah. I was just, because 12-minute run or the 16 110s, all that bullshit we had.
See, they don't have all of that. They don't have all of that anymore. They really don't push them like that. I look at them and they take care of them so much to where any little feeling they could go, all right, we're shutting you down. I felt a little bit in my hem, just a little bit. Man. Okay, hey, take this one off and everything. Hey, but everybody does it. I can't go like, well, look, man, you guys are so soft. But I times I just say, I don't even need to see this because, a guy could become walking out and the wind blow on him a little bit. Oh, that wind blew on me a little bit. Okay, take this one off. You don't need to do anything today. It's just scary. It's just.
I did these 3-a-days with Ray Perkins. Check this out. So we would get up. We do our morning practice like at 7:30, right? We go from 3 hours. 10:30, right? You go and get a lunch, then you go back out. And we had a noon practice right in the middle of the day in Florida. And so you're out there and you're practicing for about an hour and a half. You're laying in the tents. They have oranges and popsicles. Remember that shit? Oranges and popsicles, right? You're laying there on your helmet. You got your crap off. There's fans there. You're kind of making sure your pads don't get, the worst thing in the world, tell me this wasn't. You're sitting there in training camp and the morning sweat drips on your face and your helmet and you're like this. Shit. then you have to go in for lunch. You come back out and there's a nighttime practice. And I did that for 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months of that stuff
But that wasn't really unusual. See, it wasn't, it's not like now where you go, man, we really had to work. The guys now, man, if they only knew.
How many practices do you think they're in full gear now these days? How many? I mean, do they even practice a month?
You know what? I couldn't even say it's a month, and for them to be in full gear and everything, because, quickly, somebody could look at somebody hard. Oh, let's get off that, get that equipment off, man. These guys, but they got the ring, What can you say? They keep their guys
they never get hurt. They never get hurt.
They don't get hurt very much. That's right. They have cut down on the injuries without a doubt because, you got guys with the hamstrings and different things like that. Man, if they think that guy's getting tight a little bit, hey, we're shutting you down, everything. It's a different world, man. It's a different world.
It's a good thing, though, isn't it?
It is good. It's a good thing, yeah, because you cut down on the injuries and everything. But they used to say, hey, boy, get out there. They don't want to. They didn't want to hear it, man. Come on, hey, save all that crying. Let's go. Let's get started.
Hey, man, I posted some pictures in training camp, and I mean those camps were like 90 humidity and 99 degrees. And
yeah, that's right.
It's just, I mean, again, like you said, you showed up, you were a fat body. By the time you left, you had lost 30 pounds, and you were on IV.
Yeah, right. A lot of guys would do like that. Yeah, our big guys, a lot of them would do like that, which is they come in, man, and they I'm getting in shape now.
What was your toughest training camp?
The toughest, Buddy,
in Detroit?
Man. Buddy Ryan, man.
Really?
Buddy Ryan, man. Because he was driving guys off. He wanted to see who's tough enough to play,
Tougher than Jimmy's?
It was like that. Yeah, it was.
He was trying to run you out of there?
He was trying to run people out of there. That's right. And we had veteran guys, I'm going like, where you going, man? Dude throwing stuff down. He's leaving, man. I'm going.
Where you go? Where you leaving?
Dude, where you going? Man, what about the house, man? You got to make those house payments, man.
Hey.
Where are you going?
Hey,
dude, I quit.
Quit?
Man,
yeah. Hey, you know what I would always say? I would always say this: when that guy ain't married, I'll tell you that. There's no way.
That's right. Come on. Quit. I ain't going nowhere. So
hey, man.
Quit, man.
Quit.
What?
Quit
man,
what?
You better get out of here, man.
Hey, quit what? Cobb, always great catching up, my friend.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Hey, you have a go.
Got it. You got it. Yeah, quit what? That's what me and him would say. Quit what? You ain't quitting, man. Holy cow. You see a guy, you'd see, we called the midnight, what were those guys? The midnight paraders. You'd see these guys, there'd be guys leaving in the middle of the night. They'd get their shit and they would leave. And you see guys like just leaving. And I remember walking out once. And I'm like, where you going? He goes, I can't do it. I'm like, hey, dude, this ain't a place they take you back. He's like, I can't do it. I'm like, listen here, man. If I were you, I'd go back and lay down and think about it here. And the guy's like, he goes, oh. He go back. The guy goes back in. He's out there practicing. And sure enough, he didn't end up making the team. Dude, I'm telling you. Let's see here. Come on, Sills. D and O-line never get respected and recognized. Only on Tuesdays, senor. On direct deposit day, do they get respected. I don't need someone patting me on the back. I need direct deposits. I can only imagine what Buddy would say to Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis would not be on a Buddy Ryan team. No fat guys allowed with that guy. It's not what he did. Dude, I'll give you a camp with him. We're in training camp. He came down the year he got the job in 86. He spent 2 weeks with us. And you guys had just, it was right before you guys went and had his first training camp. So he comes down to Miami and he was like a consultant on our staff. He wanted to watch what Jimmy was doing. And man, he'd come into our D-line meetings and Butch led him, which was cool. I've told you guys this. And Buddy's in there. Hey, 93. Never called me my name. Hey, 93. Get your head out of your ass. Look, you're looking up. You're looking around. I said, and I had 10 tackles in this game. And he'd go, hey, 93. Stay in the technique. Finally, I'm just sitting there, and he's another one of those guys that would say this shit. I said, man, Jesus criminy. Everything was 93. He looked at me and he goes, hey, worry when I'm not calling your number. Jimmy looked over at me and said, what'd I tell you? And he's like, I'm like, shit. Another guy with that. If those coaches back then were talking to you, you were lucky. If they weren't talking to you, you were worried. Okay? That's what they and how they commanded the respect. You wanted Buddy talking. Buddy would take us, me and Jerome, and he would take us and do individual drills. Because, again, you got to remember, the 46 is based off the 2 tackles and the safety. 46 was Fensick. So our safety, that's why we had Benny Blades. And Benny Blades was a guy that was a really great player. And our safety had to play. And he had to play like Garry Fensick. And so we had a 46 version because Buddy instilled it. We were number 1. The 2 years I played there, we were number 1 defensively in the country. Gave up the least amount of points because of what Buddy, it was really a new style of 43. That guy was a tough ass coach. Then he came down in 87 and he goes, Sileo. I was like, holy shit, I graduated. Year previous, I was 8, now I was 93. Go, Sileo, come here. Because great season. You had 100 tackles, I see. I go, yeah. I did what you told me. I played in the technique. He goes, yeah. Jerome's sitting right next to me. He goes, yeah, and you outplayed the fat ass. They ended up drafting Jerome 9th. He did. Jerome's sitting there, and he goes, you outplayed this fat ass. Jerome's like, come on now, man. And I'm like, yeah, I may have outplayed him for the whole year, but nobody played like JB. That guy was just a wrecking ball. If you had to play next to Jerome Brown, you had to play next to him. I mean, Jalen Carter. I never saw Jalen Carter wreck a college game or a pro game yet like Jerome. Jerome could wreck a game. Now, he did have Reggie. And Jalen doesn't have Reggie or anybody like that on the D-line. There's no Jerome Brown or Reggie White. Jalen Carter's probably a lot like Jerome. There's no Reggie White. So Jerome had the ability, and Clyde, right, Yale, and Clyde. Mike Pitts was good. Okay, Mike Pitts could play. He was a technician guy. I really liked Mike Pitts. God rest his soul, too. Mike Pitts, man, I can't believe it. Jerome Brown, Mike Pitts, and Reggie are dead off that D-line team. That Philly gangrene. Wow. Right. Reggie, Mike Pitts, and Jerome are dead off that D-line. Yeah. Man. He's still now. Jalen plays a lot like Jerome did. He's a little loose in the techniques. I told Clint Hurt that. He's got to play a little better, shade better. He's got great hands, though. Runs around blocks too much. He would. Do you know how more impactful he'll be if he plays in the scheme? He'll be better if he just knew what he was doing. New rules, different times. Pittsburgh was a beast too. During the mid-'80s, yeah, Pittsburgh was good. They were good defensively up front. The best fronts were in Chicago, Philly, San Francisco. If I had to rank in the 80s during Philly, Buddy Ryan, probably Chicago. No, Philly had the best D-line. Oh my God, yeah, New York. Washington, too. Washington had a great D-line. Dexter Manley was on that team, and the other guy on the other side, and the guys in the middle. Saints, too. Absolutely, Saints had a good front. Yeah, you had Carson, Banks, Reason, Taylor, Marshall, Bill Neal. Yeah. And you had, what was the D lineman's name from LSU? He was there too. And you had Doug Martin. Doug Martin was there. Wow. Who would have had the best D line? Sack Exchange was great. Sack Exchange was a little before my time. I think they ran out of gas in 85. So I got in the league in 87. So if I had to, boy, the best defenses, Philly, Chicago, New York. Man, wow. They were great. The 49ers were great. The Rams were decent. Man, Philly's right there. You had Reggie and Jerome and Simmons and Pitts. And you had in Chicago, Hampton. I think Philly was better because I don't think the fridge was better than Mike Pitts. He was good, but not Mike Pitts. And Jerome was in there. Clyde Simmons, man, he could play. I think he's 136. Man, I forgot about Minnesota. Keith Millard was a great football player. I think he won the Defensive Player of the Year. I had forgotten about Keith Millard. He played during my time. Hey, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think Keith Millard won the Defensive Player of the Year award. He was good. Purple People Eaters were before my time. That was like in the 70s. I played, that was in the early 70s. I played in the late 80s. Bills were good. Bills were good too. They had Darryl Talley and Biscuit on the other side. They were outstanding. Yeah, Banks, Taylor, Reasons, best linebacking core. They were better than Philly at the linebacker, but Philly was better in the D line. Chicago probably was the best unit. Now you got to remember the secondary was probably in San Francisco with Ronnie Lott and them dudes. God, man, there were so many great defenses. But you got to remember something. Back in the late 80s, you could keep those teams together because there were no free agency. Okay, I mean, you couldn't move around. You couldn't move around like you did. All right. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Hey, our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Guys, number one reason that Morgan & Morgan is number one is why? Because they win. Our great friend John Morgan and his wife Ultima have built the ultimate injury insurance company when it comes to going after insurance companies, number one law firm in the entire country when it comes to injury law firms is Morgan & Morgan. I told you about the family in Pennsylvania now. I found out a little more of an update. They got over $30 million, and the insurance company wanted to come in with $650K. No way. They ended up getting them over $30 million in recovery. Down in Florida, company came in with $350K, an insurance company. They ended up getting nearly $15 million. family run, family owned, family thought of when it comes to Morgan & Morgan. You'll never make a poor decision. And remember something, they don't get paid unless you win. So make sure you do me a favor. You check out Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529, and do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric,